Welcome to the podcast where mental health is at the core of what we focus on. We strive to develop people like you to maximize who you are and what you've been called to do by sharing tools and resources for better brain health. And now here's your host, Juan Garcia.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We have been talking about deadly emotions, and today's episode, I want to focus on the emotion of worry. And when we define the word worry, it basically means perpetual anxiety. It's when someone is constantly worrying or feeling anxious about something that they basically have no control over. A nickname that's given is a worry wart. So it's constantly there. And so there are so many deadly connections to worry because it's that constant state of anxiety. Your body is having to process all of these emotions that connect to anxiety. And it's hard on the body. It takes a toll on the body. And right now, there's an estimated of 90 million Americans suffering from some type of anxiety disorder. 90 million Americans. That is a lot of Americans. That's almost 10% of our population. So this is a big deal. And which is why I want to just do my part to make sure that we're aware of how serious it is to connect these emotions to some of the ailments, diseases, and illnesses that we suffer from as a whole. And one of the things that anxiety really targets is our cardiovascular system. Basically, when we talk about our cardiovascular system, we're focusing on our blood pressure. The amount of blood flow into our cardiovascular system is super important. Obviously, it causes our ability to be alert and be aware of our surroundings and the things that we're doing. Not enough blood flow to our bodies is deadly in so many different ways. It can cause a heart attack. It can cause severe fatigue and just passing out. And what happens when we suffer anxiety related or worry related issues as it relates to our physical bodies is because of the amount of stress response that causes epinephrine to flood the body. And blood pressure obviously is very vulnerable to this epinephrine chemical that is in our body. Too much epinephrine and blood pressure can skyrocket. So if we have too much epinephrine in us, our blood pressure goes up, makes our hearts work harder, and is obviously very dangerous. We can suffer a heart attack. We can suffer brain hemorrhage. All of these different ailments because of the constant state of worry or anxiety that we experience. These events like a heart attack, like a stroke, like a hemorrhage of the brain, these are not just one-time events, although that's how we perhaps see them. They are a cumulative amount of events that we are putting our bodies through when we don't deal with the emotion of worry. How do we deal with the emotion of worry? Well, we have to ask ourselves, the concern, the worry that builds into anxiety, is it something that we are realistically concerned about in a healthy way? Is it something that we have control over? Is it something that we don't have control over? We have to ask these difficult questions about what reality is connected to this worry, this concern, what makes us anxious about what we're feeling. And if we have no evidence of that being a realistic concern or worry, then we must allow ourselves to disconnect ourselves from that feeling and just deal with the present and what we have before us. Another area that anxiety affects is in the area of forming what we call ulcers. Ulcers begin to line themselves up in our digestive system. It affects the way we obviously digest our food, but also it affects the way we feel. And we're constantly building bacteria and different things in our tracts. We potentially can suffer from GI bleeds. Why? Because one of the what's called hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes begin to slow down because of the stress in our digestive tract. And so that produces its own issues in our bodies. And so, as you can see, worry and anxiety is very, very serious. When we don't get a hold of it, it begins to have these ramifications and consequences in our physical bodies, which affects our mental health. And so all of this is connected, which is why I want to make sure that we are being, mindful of these things. Another area where anxiety, worry affects us physically, specifically, is in the area of irritable bowel syndrome, where it's a disorder, where it's in our gastrointestinal area, and nearly 40% of people that visit the doctor's office complain of some gastrointestinal issue. So again, this is another major thing that we don't connect to worry or anxiety, and we have to be mindful of this thing. Another thing is decreased immune response. When we constantly worry and are anxious, our immune system is at risk. And so it decreases its functionality, which raises our risk of getting the common cold, getting sick, and the flu, and now COVID, and all of these different viruses that affect our bodies. And every virus that enters our body leaves some kind of damage. So we can't just take it lightly and just say, oh, it's just this, it's just that. No, our bodies, if we are dealing with worry and anxiety over time, become susceptible to these diseases. And now we are weakened by the blunt of the virus, and it affects, our daily lives. And so these are things that we have to worry about. No pun intended. I should say we should be more aware about, because our physical bodies pay the price for what's happening in here, which allows to influence what's happening in here. So the goal of this series is for us to create an awareness that when we don't have a healthy relationship between our thoughts and our emotions, we are going to pay for it. Our bodies will end up paying for it, because we can justify it and say, well, I've been dealing with this for 40 years, or I've been thinking about this. Well, this started, 25 years ago, and, I just deal with it. But you don't. Your physical body is going to eventually betray you because of what you've allowed it to experience over the amount of time that you have. So be mindful of that. Worry, there is a healthy aspect of worry where, we're concerned about something legitimately. But over time, if we consistently worry and are anxious about something that we have no control over, then we're just really putting ourselves at risk of deadly emotions. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, any concerns, if you yourself are someone that has dealt with some specific ailment that is connected to your emotions, and now you're on the other side and you're healthier, you've adjusted your diet, you're resting, you're doing all the necessary things to be better, and you want to share your story, please write us below, leave us a comment. And if you're in need of support, help, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to serve you. We want to make sure that you're getting the tools necessary and the direction needed in order for you to get in line with what's best for your mental health as well as your physical health. So that's it for this episode. Hopefully it's been a blessing to you as much as it's been to me to be able to share this with you. And I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast. For more information, visit our website at juangarciaenterprises.com. Our host, Juan Garcia, is available for speaking, coaching, and one-on-one counseling. You can email us at info@juangarciaenterprises.com. Until next time, remember, we only have one mind, so mind yours.